How does social media change the relationship between journalism and the public documentary? In this documentary, I am going to be discussing the chosen topic of how does social media change the relationships between journalism and the public. Did you know in the United Kingdom there are now at least 45 million people who are regular social media users? This equals to 67% of the entire population. Social media has its benefits such as being useful tools to stay informed on current news, to do online shopping, keep yourself entertained, and stay in touch with people. These platforms have revolutionized the way we view politics by citizens being more engaged in the political process and allowing minority views to express on a wide scale. Nearly half of the British adults get their news from social media platforms according to the new report by media regulator Ofcom. With saying that, it has been noticed that the public rates social media platforms their least favourite way of discovering news due to the accuracy and trustworthiness. Today, journalists face difficulties created by the modern media technologies. Journalism is undergoing significant changes associated with economical, cultural, and social changes. Social media brings contemporary features like social interactions. Journalism now has actual talks with the public. On most platforms, journalists can let the public have their say through commenting. An example of this is when national tabloids post their daily news articles on social, such as Facebook. Users can comment on the articles and have their say. The traditional one-way communication of sharing national news has turned into two-way communication. Social media has allowed freedom of speech. I managed to find some statistics on some websites. 8% of adults said Facebook was the most important source they use, again behind only BBC One, 24%, and ITV, 11%. More people are also using Twitter, up from 14% to 16%, WhatsApp 10% to 14%, and Instagram 9% to 13% for news. But social media was still rated lower than any of the other main news sources on trust, with just 38% of those who regularly use it for news saying it is trustworthy. Of the main social media platforms, Facebook was the least trusted, but its users with 35% calling it trustworthy, followed by 39% for Instagram and 43% for Twitter. This compared to a trust rating 82% for magazines, 71% for TV, 67% for radio, 66% for print newspapers, and 58% for other internet sources, including news websites. Traditional media is still the most reliable source to receive news. It is crucial for communication brand messaging as it is immediately recognized. Television, magazines, newspapers, and radio will always be recognizable and reliable sources to anyone, as it has been established for decades and newspapers go back decades. Newspapers date back to 1600s. By the 20th century, each city had its own privately published newspaper. There were numerous daily newspapers in circulation in the 20th century, such as the Daily Mail, Daily Mirror, Daily Star, etc. Conventional media has had much longer relationship with the public due to decades of communicating news, stories, and campaigns to the masses. Therefore, they are a trustworthy, reliable source. People who are not part of the digital transition rely internally on newspapers, television broadcasts, and magazines to consume news. Social media is often used by traditional media to drive traffic to their website. This means traditional media can still reach mass audience online and offline. Social media is an incredible counterpart, but is not a complete replacement of traditional media. Twitter is a social media platform which is highly used by journalists. It helps journalists obtain quotes and make new contacts. It is also a way to get global stories and news as soon as it is occurring. Journalists often use Twitter in their personal life and are relatable like any other person, and this can also enable the public to have interactions with journalists. Social media platforms are a great way for democracy in various ways, but can also become worse in some ways. If you will believe many things are false, you will fail to learn many things are true. That's awful for democracy. Facebook was originally created to connect with friends and family online, but unprecedented numbers of people channel their political energy through this medium. It's being used in unforeseen ways, with social repercussions that were never anticipated. People voice their opinions online, but in the first days of social media, many people assumed that the global increase in connectively would be great for democracy. As social media has developed over the years, optimism has evaporated and suspected harms have arisen. Online political discussions are used amongst anonymous users are experienced as more irritated and less polite than in person. Facebook's algorithm can analyze up to 300 likes and can predict a user's personality with great accuracy. This has given a risen concern over targeting personalized advertisements being aimed at users based on their own likes. If micro-targeting is used politically, it has substantial potential to undermine democratic discourse, a foundation of democratic choice. Another thing is choice architectures. Social media platforms use several behaviors techniques to encourage people to regularly share and engage. Social media users are not typically aware of what data get provided to others, stored and collected when they are given permission and complete tasks online. Behavioral science shows that people have choice to react towards negative news. When joined with algorithms that promote content with a big level of engagement, online platforms can simply imply the reach of false and misleading information. This is especially troubling when false and misleading information has the potential to set the political agenda. Extremists and ultimately lead to post-truth word in which facts have less influence in shaping public opinion than emotion and individual belief. Overall, social media has had a huge impact on relationship between journalism and the public. It shows that not all news you see on social media is trustworthy. Many news articles can be false, which makes the public indecisive and whether it is believable or not. Therefore, traditional ways of sharing news through newspapers and television will always be the main way of people finding out the latest news because they know that they can trust it.